if you're an art student, you know that at some point you have to take art history, right? I don't know what it's like for other people, but I know at my school it's about, for BFAs at least, you have to take 1 to 3 art history courses. And for context, around the time this story happened, we only had one teacher, and in the art history department, of course. And also, not to be quirky and unique, but I was fucking going through it. And that kind of led me to failing this class. And ultimately, I guess I just want to say there were a lot of things I could have done better, but at the same time, I'm not holding myself accountable. That sounds awful, but the things I'm trying to do are improve my grades, focus, turn in my work on time, check my class portal whenever I can, prioritize my own health, you know, the basic shit, so that I don't fail. But this is the class that mentally destroyed me. Well, I wouldn't say it mentally destroyed me, but it was one of the things that was getting on my nerves a lot at the time. Another thing I want to say before I get into this is that I personally don't dislike the teacher as a person. I just don't like how the class ended, or I don't like her teaching methods. That's a good way to put it. So, for context, I was indetermined by the university, because I was a liberal arts major, I got an opportunity to join a group of students that kind of lived in one building, and a lot of me and my close friends from that group were art majors, and we had to take art history at some point. One of my friends ended up dropping it because she had a different major, but yeah. So we took a lot of classes together, and art history just happened to be the one that everyone didn't like. So it started with us looking her up on Rate My Professor. I'm aware that Rate My Professor is not a good website, but I mainly use it just to like get a general idea of what my teachers would be like or whatnot. So, yeah. And a lot of the reviews of this teacher were really, 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 really bad. Like, I think they were talking about her grading work super harshly, or like her not being organized with her work, and you know, me and my friends, or everyone in the group, because we all had this group chat, basically, we were like, this class seems scary, and I think there were some people that were like, we'll wait and see what happens, and I mean, that's what I thought to myself too. And come the day class starts, what was I gonna say? Our teacher is talking about the lecture, and something seems off to my friend, and this is just something my teacher would do. I don't know if she still does it, but I mean, it's just something that got on my nerves a bit, and also my friends, but I mean, it doesn't mean she has to change it just because we disliked it, but something she would do would be like, make a really bad joke and just laugh in the middle of it. Alright guys, so we have this cat in this portrait here, or should I say, portrait. Anyway. She would be a lot more enthusiastic than I am in her tone, because she's a teacher, and I mean, she enjoyed talking about art history, which is good for her, honestly. I love that for her, genuinely. But it would make things really uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but like, I remember not liking it very much, because like, there was like always an uncomfortable amount of silence, and like, I joked with my friends about feeling like, I feel like some monster is gonna jump out and eat my guts like any minute. The class goes absolutely silent, and that was true. Okay, so another thing about this class was that we would have 5 quizzes due every Friday night, and at midnight too. And the thing is that like, she would mention them once a week and then never mention them again. The quizzes were somewhat, like, 25% of the grade, I think, or, like, and, like, because I never knew about them, I was failing that class really quickly, and, like, you could have said, well, I guess you should know just to start checking from now on. And I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to say on, like, ow, on, like that, or whatever, but I do try to check my portals now because I am more mature and I know what the fuck I'm doing, I guess. But, at the time, I had no idea, and I was just failing that class. So, oh, there was also not really a way that you could make them up. Like, once you missed them, you were fucked. Like, you would have, like, if you missed any assignments, you would have gotten a 0. I mean, she made an exception for, like, papers and stuff, but, like, if anything was late, you fucking were screwed. And, because a lot of the information in the class was kind of crammed into one single an hour, 30-minute sessions, where you didn't get up to move or, like, do anything aside from occasionally participating in discussions, I kind of fell behind. I mean, I also could have done that by buying the book or reading the book like a normal person, but I didn't. And, I didn't know what the fuck was happening. So eventually we ended up having to take a field trip to, let's call it the National DSI Museum, where the assignment was that we had to look for certain pictures, right? And me and my friend Kevin, who had a car, went there on our own. And, I think we looked at specific pictures, but also we kind of just did our own thing, and yeah, I forgot. I didn't even read the assignment description, actually, but it turned out that we had to get information on who made them, when they were made, the meaning behind them. We had to get a lot of information off of them, and I didn't know any of that, or I didn't bother to read any of it, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Eventually, there did come a time where, there were a few times where I asked my professor for help. She gave me some really solid advice, like, I could study before my exams. I mean, that was kind of a given, Phoebe, but you know what? I mean, that was good advice. I don't care what you say, and I wish I would have followed it. I mean, actually, but she suggested flashcards. I remember doing that, but I just wasn't good with it. Speaking of which, I failed my final exam too. Woo! But eventually, I asked for help. She said, oh, well, there's this big paper coming up. You can get started on it early, and I don't remember if I did or not, but when the time for that paper came around, we had to choose a painting from the DSI Museum and basically talk about the art movements that it covered and stuff. And I happened to choose the worst painting because I couldn't find shit on it online. I used library resources like my teacher asked me to. However, they only had 2 books and articles, or they only had 2 pieces of media, and they didn't contain shit. So I was very fucked, and I freaked out about it. I think I flunked that paper too, and that was kind of my last straw. For context, my friends were kind of not really liking this class and telling me to, like, give it a rest already, but, like, that was kind of my final straw. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this class. So, yeah, that's, even though it's rambly, that's the story of my art history class. If you want to support me financially, you could buy me a coffee, because I love caffeine and I love destroying my caffeine system. I don't know what that is. Okay, bye.